Hello everyone and welcome to Serendipity in Quarantine. Today we are going to learn about the interior of the earth. So while learning this, we'll see what are the different sources from which we determine what is the interior of the earth, then some important features like earthquakes, volcanoes, etc. So let's begin. So there are multiple exogenic and endogenic factors which are consistently shaping the landscape of the earth. At the same time, there were multiple factors while the evolution of the earth, like physiological factors, human factors, etc., which helped in formation of the interior of the earth. So what are these different sources which we use in determining the interior of the earth? So as we know, the earth's radius is about 6370 kilometers, but no one can reach at the center of the earth. So we cannot directly go to the center of the earth to see what is the material of the core of the lithosphere. But there are different properties which help scientists to determine what is the interior of the earth made up of. So for example, there are some direct sources like mining. So in case of mining, there is a gold mine in South Africa which is as deep as 3 to 4 kilometer. So this depth, and beyond that one cannot go at, as it is very hot at that depth. So this helps in determining what is inside the earth. Then there are some deep ocean drilling projects like integrated ocean drilling projects at and one of the deepest one is at the Kola in Arctic Ocean. So this is as deep as the 12 kilometer depth. So this helps in determining the interior of the earth. So recently Arctic Ocean was in news. So if you know why it was in news, please comment in the in this video. Then there are some volcanic eruptions, and from which lava and some molten material of magma is thrown out of onto the surface of the earth. So during this volcanic eruption, it becomes available in laboratory for analysis, and it helps in determining what is the magma made up of. Then there are some indirect sources. For example, there are features like temperature, pressure, which increases with increasing depth from the surface toward the interior in the deeper depths. So also the density of material increases with the depth. So all this is possible to find the rate of change of these characteristics. So by determining total thickness of earth, scientists have estimated values of temperature, pressure and density of materials at different depths. So these characteristics help in determining the interior. Then there are some external factors like meteors which reach the earth. So the material and the structure observed in these meteors is similar to that of earth, and they are also solid bodies developed out of the material same as or similar to our planet, hence they help. Then there are other indirect sources like gravitational field, magnetic field, seismic activities, etc. For example, in case of gravitational field, it is not same throughout the latitude of the surface, like it is greater near the pole and less at the equator. So because distance from the center to equator is greater than that of the pole, so there is difference in gravitational field. While reading the gravity at different places, it is influenced by many other factors, and that is known as gravity anomaly. So these gravity anomalies give us information about the distribution of masses of material in the crust of the earth. So similarly, magnetic surveys. Then there are seismic activities. For example, the most important seismic activity is earthquake. So this help in determining the interior of the earth. Now we'll see earthquake in details. So what are earthquakes? So they are usually tremors felt by the people on the surface of the earth, and as we know, the interior of earth has multiple layers, so there are different types of tremors felt at different places. So why is that? So why earthquake happens? So there is release of energy occurs along the faults. So these faults is a sharp break in the crustal rocks, and overlying rocks and strata press them, and the friction locks them together. But however, there is tendency to move apart at some point, and to overcome that friction, there is abrupt movement, and this causes the release of energy which travels in all direction in the form of wave, and So it causes the earthquake. So the point where the energy is released is known as the focus of the earthquake, and alternatively or hypocenter. And it travels in different direction, but the point on the surface nearest to the focus is known as the epicenter. So now we'll see what are earthquake waves. So all natural earthquakes takes place in lithosphere. So there is a seismograph which records wave reaching to the surface. So there are different types of frequencies through which this wave reach to the surface. So there are basically two types of waves: body waves and surface waves. So the body waves are generated due to the release of energy at the focus, and it moves along all direction traveling through the body of the earth. It travels through the body of the earth, hence the name body waves. Then there are surface waves. So these surface waves interact, so the body waves interact with surface rocks and generate new set of waves which are known as surface waves. So there are basically two types of surface waves: P waves and S waves. So there is difference between these two waves. For example, in case of denser material, there is higher velocity of surface waves. In case of P waves, these P waves move faster and they arrive first at the surface, hence they are also known as primary waves. And P waves are similar to sound waves. They travel through all states, for example gaseous, liquid and solid materials, while S waves arrive later than P waves and they are known as secondary waves, and they travel only through solid material. So this is important fact. Then one more fact, that the P waves travel parallel to the direction of the wave, while S wave travel perpendicular to the direction of wave, and it also travel in the form of wave, where it means it forms crest and troughs through the material. Okay, so the density difference of materials leads to stretching and squeezing of the material on three waves vibrate perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So there is one factor known as shadow zone. So as we previously saw that P waves can travel through all types of material, but S waves can travel through only solid material. So there is some shadow zone through which the waves cannot travel. So there is some specific area where waves are not reported. So these are known as the shadow zones. So for example, in case of P waves, it is observed that seismographs located any distance from 105 degree from epicenter did not record any P waves, while for S waves it is beyond 145 from the epicenters. So the shadow zone, so we'll see in this diagram. So this is the shadow zone where P waves don't reach as it passes from core to the other side of the hemisphere. But in case of S wave, as we know, outer core is in liquid state, so it cannot pass through this, hence the shadow of S wave is greater than that of shadow of P wave. So this is the shadow region, and this was the shadow region of P waves. And then what are the different types of earthquakes? The most common one is tectonic earthquake, which happens due to sliding rocks along the fault plains. Then there are specific class of tectonic earthquakes which are formed because of the volcanic eruption, and they are known as volcanic earthquakes. Recently there was swarm earthquakes which were in news. So what were these swarm earthquakes? There were series of low magnitude earthquakes that occur in localized region over the period of time, and it can vary from days, months, weeks to multiple years. So there are many earthquakes which have been preceded by swarm activity, but in case of swarm earthquakes, these earthquakes have similar magnitude scale to the main shock, and these were observed in the Palghar district of Maharashtra. So remember the swarm earthquakes. Then there are also different earthquakes because of the activities like mining activity. Sometimes when roof falls out underground, then the tremors have been felt. Then there are earthquakes due to explosion of chemical or nuclear devices. So these are known as explosion earthquakes. And then earthquake which occur in the areas of large reservoir, and this is known as the induced reservoir induced earthquake. So here, when the there is sudden inclusion of water in this reservoir, it causes tremors in the nearby area. Then how we measure the earthquake? So as we know, there is seismograph and there are multiple scale. The magnitude is known, it's calculated through the Richter scale, while the intensity is calculated through Merkel scale. So remember this, magnitude through Richter and intensity through Merkel. Then there are multiple effects of earthquake which we've known. I'll see some, for example, tsunami, falling of objects, structural collapse, floods, fires. So now we are experiencing earthquake tremors in national capital region. So you will be seeing multiple effects of earthquake in that area. Now we'll see the most important one, that is the tsunami. So tsunami is a wave generated by tremors and not earthquake itself. So it is also known as harbor waves, and it can be from magnitude of earthquake more than 5 on Richter scale. So there were multiple occasions when tsunami was observed. For example, in case of there was in Marina Beach we saw tidal waves in India. Then there was tsunami waves affected in the Thailand as well, in Indonesia, Colombia. So usually the waves, the islands, countries and coastal areas are the most important victims of this earthquakes. Then now we'll see the structure of the earth in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and comment on it. I'll be accepting any type of feedback, and also share it with your friends, and don't forget to press the bell icon and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.